Lads. Lads. Welcome back to another match reaction. Obviously, I'm not bouncing off the walls, so you probably know what happened in the game. Leeds United 2, Sheffield United 1. Just quickly pop the scorers on the bottom. There you go. We got outplayed. Let's be perfectly honest. We got outplayed by the Muppets. I had to do it. I'm sorry, Leeds fans. I'm not sorry, but I am sorry. I've got a lot of respect for Leeds. I think they've been brilliant since they, obviously, last season, walking away with that championship title really simply in the end. And how well they've done this season. Reminds me of us from last season, the way that they charge around the pitch, kind of hunting in packs every player. It's great to watch. And Leeds United fans must be absolutely buzzing with the manager, with the team, and I feel like they're only going to get better, but actually that's what I thought about us coming into the season. Look what happened. Loads of injuries later, and you end up being bottom by a stretch. And it doesn't look like it's going to get any better for us anytime soon. It certainly wasn't in this game, was it? So it was, how many minutes was it? 12, 13 minutes, something like that. And we went behind. 12 minutes, there we go. It was poor from Ender Stevens in the build-up, wasn't it? Really poor. Just let them take the ball off him. Then Rafinha, Tyler Roberts played the ball through to Rafinha. He did really well against Baldock because Baldock came charging in and then kind of stepped back because he's like, I don't want to bring him down in the box because he's a very skillful player, Rafinha. But he played George Baldock really well because he then just took the ball on and it was easy. A lovely little ball across the box, easy as you like for Jack Harrison to tap in. But I just want to talk about two people. First of all, I've said about Stevens, really poor defensive work from Stevens. Just let them take the ball. Awareness, really, more than defensive play. But John Lundstrom not tracking back. If you watch it back again, watch him not put it in to get back because Bogle was left exposed, trying to mark two men, not knowing whether to go to. I can't remember. It might have been Bamford to go to the player in the box or Jack Harrison behind him. I don't think he really saw Jack Harrison, but he's trying to mark two men at once, and it was an easy roll across the box. Rammers couldn't do anything about it, really. Let's be honest. So 1-0 up really early on. I think we thought if Leeds get an early goal, it's curtains for us. But we actually dug in. I don't think we were too bad early on in the game. We got the ball forward. Did say always involved, the ball getting up to him and then him creating stuff. And that's where it came from. Well, Flecky picking it up on the left, the Sheffield United Sheffield United only goal came in the first half, right on the stroke of half time, where Fleck picked the ball up, knocked it into Didsey. I think we just had kind of more plays than them in the box at that point because McBurney ended up being all on his own on the right hand side. His touch wasn't great. It took him a bit wide, and it was like just shoot. And eventually he got the strike away. Not sure if it would have found its way into the bottom corner without a deflection, but it got one, landed to Ozzy. And Ozzy was in the place where our wing-backs always need to be, in that box. And Ozzy knew as soon as he hit it that it was in the back of the net because of how far the Leeds player was behind the line. But obviously from where the camera was, we weren't 100% because it was so far away and not exactly online. So we weren't able to see until the referee just looked at his watch and I was like, is he signalling that his watch didn't go off? Or is he signalling that it has gone off and it's a goal? And the camera panned to Osborne and he was smiling. So we knew that it was 1-1 going into half time. And actually, we probably didn't deserve anything from that first half or the second half. So we were quite lucky going into the break being 1-1. Second half, Leeds United came out fighting. We didn't. No. I'll go through some of the chances that we had in that second half, obviously with this being a Sheffield United fan channel. not a lot to pick from, but we did have one or two half chances. But Leeds United, really early on in that second half, I think it was about 10 minutes into the second half, the ball, big, long ball over to Jack Harrison. And at the time when we were doing the watch along, because Bogle was so kind of nonchalant about it, the ball went over. He was like, I'm just going to watch that out for a throw-in, it looked like. And then Jack Harrison just pops on screen because obviously the camera's panning across. And when Jack Harrison's in that position to cross that ball, you know it's going to be curtains, don't you? Because what a great ball it was across the box. And if it weren't for Jags putting it in his own net, I think it was Rafinha at the back post would have put it in the back of the net. Rames did quite well, actually, because he's sliding across his line, trying to stop it, and then gets a fingertip to it, puts it into the far corner. Not much either of them could do, really. Jags was trying to get something on it. He stretched, but yeah, not good enough in the end. And in the watch-along, someone said in the comments that's 3 own goals in a row, which is some record. I'd love Statman Adam to let us know at some point when was the last time we conceded 3 own goals in a row. It may never have happened in our whole history. It's just an unlucky time, really. Ampadu against, not Brighton, Ampadu against Leicester City. Then it was, I put myself on the spot here, Ampadu. Then it was Norwood in the last game. Again, another diving foot across the box to try and keep it out. And he obviously deflected it in. And another one today from Jag. So it's really depressing, especially when it's a Yorkshire derby. I've got a lot of Leeds fans that are friends, really. A lot of all Leeds TV, and obviously One Leeds as well. Connor and Joe, really good lads. We've had some great banter with them. It's a pity that we're not going to be playing Leeds United next season. Hopefully we'll be playing them the season after. It would be great. Anyway, I'll quickly run through. I've had to write down the goals that the attempts that we've had, shall we say, because there were few and far between. First of all, in the first half, Didsey had one that went pretty wildly wide. Didsey's had loads of shots from outside the box recently this season, and only one's come off against Arsenal when he killed it into the corner when none of us expected it. But obviously Didsey's got that confidence to have a go. And let's be honest, there's not many players that I'd like to see have a shot from outside the box, which is pretty poor for a Premier League team because most Premier League teams have got at least somebody who has that in their locker to put one in the top corner from outside the box. And we really don't, which is really sad to see. Didsey had another shot in the second half with his left foot where he looked a bit off balance and then he fell over. Really poor shot. And then towards the end, Ryan Brewster had a volley from about edge of his own area. It seemed it was that far out. And it kind of just bent just wide. And I think Meslier was a bit confused because he hit it with that much pace. And we know Brewster's got that in his locker. So maybe Brewster is one of them that you'd like to see have a shot from distance. But obviously when the ball sits up nicely for a volley, if you get a good connection and it just wasn't far away, it's always going to be difficult to save. If that had been on target, I don't think Meslier would have got there because he hit it with such pace and he's got a great shot on him, Brewster. And then Ollie Burke tried to do it all himself, which mostly when he's played, he's had to because he's not had that support. He was on the edge of the box, running, then eventually got his shot away just wide of the mark. Wasn't a bad effort. I think the keeper had it covered all day long. So that's about it, really. I'll quickly run through the team. Rammers, man of the match today. I was trying to find a man of the match that was an outfield player because I like to pick outfield players. I know goalkeepers don't really get the respect they deserve most of the time, but I like to see football being played. And I was looking around thinking, the only one that I can really think of is Osborne, but I don't think he was too good today. Scored the goal, obviously, and players that score goals quite often get man of the match awards. So I probably would have given it to him for being in that position to score that goal. But yeah, Rammers, for me, man of the match, great, made some great saves. Jack Harrison had one where Baldock went through I think it was Tyler Roberts, and it landed to Jack Harrison, and he just put it wide. But that's what we thought anyway. Rammer's got his leg on it or something like that, and it just spun wide, which was another great save from Ramsdale. But he made a few today, and he's been excellent in the last few games. Not last few games, sorry. It's more than that. It's way more than that. And it's a bit harsh saying that, because I think Ramsdale's really pulled his socks up since the start of the season, because he's been poor. He's been poor for large parts of this season. But I've got to say, in the last between 5 and 10 games, he's been one of the best players on the pitch for us. Anyway, we'll move on from that. Bogle did quite well, and he proved again. He had an attempt in that second half that I completely forgot about until just now, where the ball came into him and he kind of sidestepped. I think it was Alioski, and then had a shot that looked like it was destined for the bottom corner, and one of the Leeds players got a block on it. But brilliant. He looks like a striker in the box. He does not look like a right wing back. So hopefully we keep hold of him, and he could be brilliant for us in the Championship next season. Let's be honest, he's been brilliant for us in the Premier League season. We wanted to see more of him. It's just a pity Chris Wilder didn't start him from day one. But the main reason for that is Baldock. And Baldock played really well again today until he went off. I think it was a concussion, because he really, really smacked his head against the turf. We thought it was his neck at first, because our physio was kind of holding his neck, but we think it must have been some sort of bang to the head, because he did whack his head into the ground. He tried to play on like we know that Baldock does. He's one of these players that always gives 100%, always gets stuck in. And I would never give Baldock any grief, because he doesn't deserve it. He puts it in every single game. He obviously tried to carry on. He couldn't. Same with Bogle, though, really. I know I just spoke about Bogle, but Bogle had to come off. He got a smack in the face by the Leeds player. And it's one of them where you think, I thought he was not play acting, because he did get hit in the face, but it looked really innocuous, just like a tap. But he looked like he was all over the place when he was coming off. Because obviously then that's when, was it Ampadu? I can't remember who came on, to be perfectly honest. But it did look all over the place. Jags he did okay. He read the game well, as he always does. But yeah, obviously that own goal is always going to mark him down a little bit. Ender Stevens, he looks a fish out of water at left centre back. He looks a fish out of water in his rightful position at left wing back. But at left centre back, he's shocking. Really, really poor. He's not a centre back, and you wouldn't think that him, because he looks quite a big, strong lad, Ender Stevens. You wouldn't say he was like an Osborne who's really slim, really small, and looks like he gets knocked off the ball. He's got some power to him, but he just can't play that position. He's not got it up there to play that position. I don't know what it is. You would think he would. Ben Osborne did all right. Obviously scored the goal, and he had to be there to score that goal. But in the game, yeah, he gave the ball away cheaply at times, especially in that first half. I felt like he was a bit all over the place, but obviously I'd rather have him at left wing back than Ender Stevens any day of the week this season. I feel like he deserved to start a lot more games than what he has. Fleck, we need him to step up, and he's not stepping up at all. I think he was the one who created the chance for Bogle. So if that had gone in the back of the net, we might have been talking about a great assist from Fleck. But I just feel like he needs to step up, and he's not doing. As long as no one comes in for him, which I don't think they will, because he's not been great this season. He's had troubles with his back as well. I think he'll be a star for us in the Championship next season. So looking forward to that. I don't think Ollie Norwood did too badly today. He's always the sacrificial lamb, if you like, that comes off, sacrificed every single time we need to get another striker on, and he was again today. But he did okay. He just dilly-dallies on the ball a little bit too much for me. And it's every week. It's every single week. But he's going to have a lot more time on the ball in the Championship. I guarantee it. I used to think it's the other way around. But in the Premier League, every player is just so much fitter and they're on you straight away. And he just hasn't got the quick thinking or the quick feet. He might have the thinking, he might not have the feet. That's the problem with Norwood. Lundstrom, I could write a book on Lundstrom this season, how bad he's been, but I'll not. I'll save that one. Save my time. Lundstrom, for me, it's his tracking back that's not good enough. We were speaking after the watch along with Robert from the Fans React, and I made the point of saying that. Robert made the point initially of that he's good. He's putting effort in going forward, but not coming back. And I liken that to like a kid, a child who's playing football that wants to get all the glory of going forward, but doesn't want to do any of the dirty work, getting back in, getting a foot in. And he gave the ball away in the first half. Sorry, I think it was in the second half, and he just stood there, and he was just like, "Oh, be right." And then Alioski had a shot that went over the bar. But the thing was, if Lundstrom would have followed like the ball or got back at least, Alioski wouldn't have even had that shot. So that's just proving that he's not on it. He doesn't care. He shouldn't be playing football for us in this state of mind. Now, I know Chris Wilder played him, and I know that Hecky's playing him as well. So there must be something on the training ground that they're seeing that we're not. But for me, when they do these analysis videos on Lundstrom, he must be embarrassed watching it back because he's not getting back. And he didn't do that for the first goal. He probably didn't do that for the second goal. I've not seen it back what he was doing. But there were so many times in that watch on where I was like, just watch Lundstrom not run back here. And it's just embarrassing to watch. And then finally, the two lads up front. I'll not talk. I thought Ampadu was brilliant, by the way, when he came on. I'm going to say I'll not talk about the lads that came on because they didn't really do a lot. But actually, Ampadu got stuck in. There was one point in the box where he went to lay it back to Ender Stevens when he just needed to boot it, and Leeds got the ball back and had a shot. It's like, what are you doing? What are you thinking? But I don't think we'll have Ampadu next season anyway. I think he'll go on loan to another Premier League club that's struggling, really, because I don't think he's Chelsea quality. No way. Before I get on to the lads that came on, I'll quickly double back to McBurney and McGoldrick. McBurney was shocking for me. He had a shot that obviously bobbled back to Osborne, which could have gone in the back of the net, fair enough. He did one little trick where he flicked it onto someone, which was great. Other than that, he gave the ball away every single time he got it. I thought Didsey did okay. When the ball came up to him, he was bringing players into the game. He was the only player that was really creating anything. He was, when he got the ball, I actually thought like we were going to create a chance, which is great. And obviously people say that I'm a little bit biased towards Didsey because I think he's a brilliant player. I'm a big fan of Didsey, and I never won't be a big fan of him because he gives 100% every game. And that's what I love to see. There's a lot of United players that gives everything, but also there's a couple of bad eggs in there that definitely don't give it their all, and it's really painful to watch. And last two, Brewster obviously did okay. Did not a lot really. A good shot from that volley that just went wide, and Burke tries his heart out. He always does. He's obviously he's a really quick lad, but when you're losing and you bring him on and teams are sitting back. I'm not saying Leeds sat back. They were brilliant on the break. But when that defence sits back a little bit, Ollie Burke is just, it's pointless in being on the pitch because he's not one of these players that's going to hit the ball in the back of the net from 20, 30 yards. He's not one of these players that gets into great positions. He's rapid and he's great at getting onto balls when we're struggling and defending, and he's the out ball. But he's also good at getting on defenders' backs and kind of charging balls down and stuff. But those two things weren't going to happen when Leeds United were happy with the win, with the 2-1 win, because it didn't ever look like we were going to score a goal today, other than one that luckily bobbled to Ben Osborne, and he put the ball in the back of the net, or not even in the back of the net, put the ball over the line, should we say. Anyway, we will go into comments. I know I'm expecting some Leeds fans to be in the comments after the game, but giving me some grief because me and Leeds fans have got this kind of relationship. Anyway, I can't see. I don't have my glasses on, so I'm going to be picking people at random. Chris Barton, anyone can tell me why footballers wear gloves in this weather. Probably not the best one to start off with to analyse the games, but I completely agree, mate. I really do agree. Thank you, Sean. I don't know taking the mick or whether that is actual good luck for next season, but I really do appreciate it either way. Hopefully we get back up and we have another Yorkshire derby in the Premier League. Everybody wants that, surely. Start Burke and Bruce up front with Didsey behind. I agree. I completely agree. But at the same time, against a team like Leeds, where they're going to have more of the ball, I really do think that we should have started Burke up top on his own. Didsey kind of just in front of the midfield, trying to create stuff, and Burke just using his pace down the line and over the top. I just feel like managers don't see what we see. I don't get it. Actually, good luck in the champion. Thank you. The fact that you put actually, that means a lot. It really, really does. And I do appreciate. I do say sorry for the beating them up. Sorry, not beating them up. It's being outplayed by the Muppets. It's just a bit of banter in it. And I thought a lot more Leeds fans would click on the video if they saw me giving them a little bit of jip. Blades could have nicked a point and it would have been a lucky one. I actually believe that. And I was thinking before this, I was going to say this and I completely forgot. I honestly think Leeds, I wouldn't say we're there for the taking because we were poor, but I've seen Leeds play a lot better than this season. A lot better. And I think we were quite lucky that Leeds weren't quite on form today because Leeds had a lot of breaks. And they just didn't quite, they just weren't very good at finding that final ball. Harrison came through a few times and he wasn't finding that final ball because you had, at some points it was 4-on-3 and things like that. Or you had a couple of players kind of on their own because we were obviously trying to get back into the game. So it could have been a lot more like this season. It could have been a lot more. Southampton at Bramall Lane, they could have beaten us kind of 3-4-0, something like that. There's been loads of times that could have happened this season. So, Luke Van Dome, get us back in the lane where we can really make a difference. Absolutely. Even though we were away today, just having some Blades in that crowd would have made a massive, massive difference. I'm going to take a few more questions or a few more comments before we start. So get them in. Baldock's challenge on Roberts. Card, maybe. I think you're probably right. I don't know if you are a Sheffield United fan, Robert, or if you are a Leeds fan. It was reckless. I did write down in my notes that it was a reckless challenge. I agree. And these days, if a tackle is to be deemed as reckless, it could be a sending off. You never know. I don't think it was. It did look like he went in with 2 feet. It was a bit of a daft challenge, but at the same time, he's not a reckless player. And I know a lot of people say that about a lot of players, but he's not. He's really not. He's kind of blood and thunder sort of player. But at the same time, he's not one of these that's going to be dirty and horrible. I'll quickly go on to Paul Smith. Thank you for commenting on Facebook, by the way. There's not enough on Facebook. To be honest, to say we had none of the centre-backs we had last season, we dug in and kept the score down. And with a bit of luck, Brewster would have scored, but it wasn't to be. So let's look to getting everyone fit for next season. Absolutely. We keep giving our players grief, but at the end of the day, we've had a hell of a lot of injuries this season. You would probably say, which 3 players would you not want us to lose? And that would probably be Jack O'Connell, John Egan, and maybe Sander Berger. And look what's happened. Flex had a back injury this season, so he's been poor for a lot of the season. But that's because he's been injured. Imagine playing football with a bad back or some sort of break in your back, because I think that's what it is he had a broken bone in his back, something like that, and he was playing through it. So we've had no Sander Berger for most of the season. Flex been poor because he's been injured. John Egan's been out for quite a few weeks now. Even Chris Basham recently has had an injury and then came back and another injury. It's difficult. It's a really, really difficult season to watch. And it's fans, it's injuries, there's lots of things. So it's one of them things. Right, okay. Doesn't matter. Clear red should have been off. Come on, man. Come on. Can't say clear red. Can't say it. Whatever. What are your thoughts on McBurney this season? He's been poor for the majority of it, hasn't he? He has been. He's not been very good. He scored, I think he's only scored 1 goal this season, and that was against Leicester. It was a brilliant header, don't get me wrong, but he's not scoring enough goals, which if a player's not playing very well, but he's putting the ball in the back of the net, that's fine. But he's not scoring the goals. He's not contributing in any other way. If we were playing long ball to him and he were holding it up very well and bringing players into it, I'd say fair enough. That's great, but he's not. He's not been good enough. We do give them grief, but everyone attached to the club has suffered this season. I hope you're right. And Lunny is embarrassed watching it back because all we want is players that care. Exactly, and I don't think he does care. And probably I'm probably wrong. The fact that he would be embarrassed watching that. He probably doesn't care enough to be embarrassed, in all honesty. Right, anyway, I've got a few Leeds fans saying that it's definite red, so we'll leave that because I don't believe it was. Both Sheffield clubs are going down. Don't think it's happened before. If it wasn't for the injuries, won't be in this. Do you know what? If it wasn't for the injuries, I wouldn't say we're definitely going to be safe. I still think we would have struggled anyway, but we definitely wouldn't be as many points adrift as what we are right now. Anyway, I think someone's put also, what's your thoughts on lunchroom this season? I think I've covered that like a lot in this video. I've probably talked about lunchroom than anyone else, so we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I really do appreciate everyone tuning in. If you could put a like on it, I'd really appreciate it. It gets it out to more people. I'm sure we'll have a lot of Leeds fans giving us grief in the comments, which I'm open to. It's absolutely fine. As long as you give me some grief in the comments and put a like on it, I welcome it. It's all great stuff for the channel. So hopefully the next time we play Leeds, we'll be back in the Premier League in over a year's time, something like that, whatever it is. But yeah, until then, I will probably just leave it there because there's nothing else to say. I've given lunchroom enough stick, and that's what I came on this video to do. I'm only messing. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.